and we're sitting cross-legged into the floor. So you're sitting yourself onto the block and you're matching the sitting bones with the front edge of the block, and then you're rolling yourself over so the sitting bones are over the block, and then you cross your legs in front of you into a sort of triangular position. We're doing the warm-up, so it's not absolutely vital that you do this correctly. We're just warming up at the moment, okay? Make sure that you're clicking on my image and you're pressing on the 3 dots. So with the mouse, you go on the top left corner of my image and you go into the 3 dots and you pin me in so you can see me in the big screen. Okay, so sit yourself on the block. As I said, match the sitting bones with the edge of the block and then roll yourself forward so the sitting bones are in the front and half of your bum is on the block. And now, keeping the legs crossed in front of you, one way of doing it is to put one foot as close to the ground as you can and then the other foot forward, and basically you have a nice triangle pose that supports you. Okay, so place your hands in front on top of your knees and then just work on the core muscles. So starting from the lower part of the pelvic floor, you want to clench your bum hole without tensing up the glutes, and you're doing this pulling up internal and you're helping that with sucking the belly in. So you're trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. This activates the 2 bandhas, the Mula Bandha and the Udayana Bandha. And then from there, just open the chest, tuck the chin under, so you're slightly contracting the back of your throat, and that engages the Jalandhara Bandha, which takes care of the upper part of the body. And then keeping this posture as much as you can, close your eyes for a second and engage with the breath. So the breath is quite important in yoga practice, otherwise it just becomes just a stretching class, okay? So involving the breath also tries to focus the mind on the breath and relaxing the mind as well. So you're trying to breathe to the count of 5 on the inhale and breathing out to the count of 5 on the exhale. Breathing through the nose only, trying to achieve 6 breaths a minute, which basically start triggering off or activating the vagus nerve, which then also activates the parasympathetic nerve that switches off the sympathetic nerve, so it's the fight and flight one. So by just doing these nice and long breaths, inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5, you have a very deep effect onto the body, shutting off the fight and flight and basically activating the relaxing neurological system. So inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Open your eyes, interlace the fingers in front of you, stretch the arms in front of you so that you're looking at the palms of the hands. And then on the next inhale, push the palms away from you, and on the exhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, keeping the arms as straight as you can, pushing the palms towards the ceiling, sucking the belly in, looking straight ahead. So you're feeling the stretch onto the sides of the body. Again, inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, keep your left hand up towards the ceiling, right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, stretch the left side. Exhale, lean towards your right, bending the right elbow, looking down towards your left armpit. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand by the block, right hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, looking down towards your right armpit. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. As I'm not sure while I'm filming if it is a mirror image or not, just mirror my movements, yeah, when I'm doing the teaching. And then inhale, come back to the center, right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your right, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your right shoulder. Inhale into the count of 5, and exhale into the count of 5. On the inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, using your arms, you're twisting towards your left. And inhale, come back to the center. Let go of the block. Place it somewhere where you can reach it quite easily throughout the class. Come on your fours. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, the shoulder width apart. Knees directly underneath your hips, hip width apart. Top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, you're looking forward. Curve the back towards the floor. Push the bum out. Relax the belly. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. You're contracting the abdominals here. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling. Start pushing the bum towards your hands until you're feeling your abdominals engaged, looking down towards your knees. Do 2 more, following your breath. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. If you're familiar with the Ujjayi breathing, which is the breathing on the back of the throat that creates this ocean sound, just do the Ujjayi breathing throughout the rest of the class. And then you're coming back into a neutral position. Tuck your toes under on the inhale. On the exhale, push your bum up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet. On the inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the left leg. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, transferring the weight onto the right leg. Inhaling, bending the right knee, opening up the back of the left leg. Exhale, bending the left knee, opening up the back of the right leg. 2 more, following the breath, looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. Trying to bring the heels down towards the floor. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you reach the hands, keep your feet hip width apart. Big toes are slightly tucked in. Grab hold of the opposite elbow. Inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine, bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward. First, relax the torso on the thighs. And make sure you're letting go of the head. So you're pointing the top of the head down towards the floor, nodding your head a couple of times, turn the head right and left. And then when you feel comfortable that your upper part of the body is loose, then you can straighten up the legs if you want to. And then you bring in the upper part of the body towards the right leg, and then towards the left, opening up your lower back. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, let go of the hands on the floor, tuck your chin under, bend the knees if the legs were straight, and exhale, you're coming up into a standing position, head last to come up. Okay, so when you're participating in any exercise or exercise program, there is the possibility of physical injury. If you voluntarily engage in this class, you agree to do so at your own risk and assume all risk of injury to yourself. If you have any injuries and during the class you're experiencing pain, come out of that pose, come into child pose, okay? Obviously I won't be able to see you, so you need to take care of yourself and never go to the point where you're feeling too much pain. You're coming to the top of the mat with the mountain pose, so the big toes are touching. You're distributing the weight into the middle of the feet, and you're starting to engage the front of the thighs by pulling the kneecaps up. Now you want to re-engage the lower part of the bandha or of the mula bandha, the lower pelvic floor, by tucking your pelvis under, and you're feeling a pulling into the lower part of the abdomen. Suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. Close your eyes for a second, see how you're feeling with the eyes closed, standing up. You should be able to stand up okay. If you're finding that you're finding it difficult and you lose balance, open your eyes again. And just engage the core muscles and take nice and long breaths, bringing your hands in front of your chest and setting an intention for today's class to do your best to just focus the mind on the breath. So today's focus will be mostly on trying to have this mind that just focuses on the breath. So constantly try to count to 5 on the inhale and on the exhale. We're going to do 3 sun salutations. Open your eyes. We're going to start with the first one, basic, all together, and then you can do your own pace if you want to. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, look up at the hands, suck the belly in. Exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, placing your hands on the shin, the ankle, or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. Now you're setting the plank, you're on the tiptoes, you're pushing the heels away from you, and you're bringing your shoulders over the wrist. Engage the glutes, engage the front of the thighs, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, knees to the floor, leading with the chest, brushing your elbows by your rib cage, you're bringing your elbows down to the floor. Top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, keep the hands underneath the shoulders and you're lifting the chest off the floor, roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, coming to your hands and knees, bring the seat towards your heels and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward, so you're trying to bring your heels down towards the floor, keeping your feet hip-width apart, looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. Now you can come on your tiptoes if you're struggling to bring your heels down, bend the knees and push the hips up. When you're there, then you're gently bringing the heels down to your level, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. You can also walk on the spot on this one, but then for the next 2, you're trying to keep the legs in a stable position, so you're really opening up the back of the legs. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. Inhale, come up a little bit, engaging the core, sucking the belly in. Bring your hands up towards the ceiling and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, either step or jump into a high plank. From here, you can do the same with the knees down as the first one, otherwise low plank, hovering down halfway down. And then from here, you're pushing your body through the hands, straightening up the hams, looking forward, rolling the shoulders away from you. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. Stepping your feet forward, heels down. Position the legs as you did with the first pose. And now focus onto the upper part of the body. Hands as wide as the mat. Wrists in line with the top of the mat. Roll your shoulders away from you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keeping the hands where they are. You're pushing your hands away from you. Looking down towards the floor. Trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Also here, you're tilting your pelvis under. So you're not overarching on your back. As you're tilting your pelvis under, you're also feeling the glutes getting engaged and your lower part of the abdominals being engaged. And then on the next inhale, looking towards your hands. If you want, you can walk your feet towards your hands like the first one, otherwise you're bringing your one leg up and then bringing the knee towards the chest,
stepping the foot in between the hands and then bringing the other foot forward. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hand the hands by your side. Last one, inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, either step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale, at a low plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Bring all the elements together of the pose. Now, if you want, you can also point the top of the head down towards the floor and engage with the breath. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, looking towards your hands, either step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay, everybody all right? So, bring yourself to the top of the mat, and we're starting with the feet hip-width apart. We're gonna do the warrior one. So hands on the hips, you're stepping with the right foot, 2/3 of the mat, turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. You want to be able to square the hips towards me. So if you're not able to do that, it means your right foot is too way behind the front, so you need to step the right foot towards the right, so that there's a space between the front and the back foot. Now, keeping that right leg straight, the heel is down onto the floor. On the next inhale, you're bending the front leg. You want to still see the big toe, so the left knee doesn't come in. And then once you're ready, you start sucking the belly in on the inhale, and on the exhale, bring your arms up towards the ceiling, looking straight ahead, rolling the shoulders away from you. And then if you want, you can start looking up towards the ceiling. You can join the hands together. Make sure you want to keep your arms as straight as you can. And you want to keep the left leg bent to the point where the left thigh is parallel to the floor. Now suck the belly in on the inhale so that you're engaging the front of the abdominals. And you're basically giving a little bit of, you're protecting your lower back, but you should feel a little bit of a stretch on your lower part of the right back. One more breath here. In and into the count of 5. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, you're looking forward. Place your hands on the hips and you're stepping to the front of the mat. We're going to do it on the other side. Start with the feet hip-width apart. As you're stepping back, you're trying to maintain the feet hip-width apart, okay? So you're stepping with the left foot, turn the toes towards the top left corner of the mat, left heel on the floor, left leg as straight as you can. On the next inhale, bend the front leg, still wanting to see the big toes. Now, don't lean forward, you're sitting in between the legs. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, and on the exhale, you're bringing your arms up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together, suck the belly in, and then if you want, you can start looking up towards the ceiling, joining the hands together. Now squeeze the left glute, suck the belly in. As you're looking up towards the ceiling, you're giving yourself a micro back bend, so you should feel the stretch onto your lower back, but no pain. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. You're protecting your lower back by engaging the front of your abdominals. Last breath here. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, place your hands on the hips, and exhale, you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a bit of a shake.
Okay, so we're gonna do the chair sequence, all right? So we're gonna bring the feet together, and what you want to do, you want to sit back. So basically, you're doing a squat almost, okay? So imagine there's a chair, a foot behind your feet, the heels of your feet, and you're trying to sit on that chair. You're placing your hands in front of your chest, and you're sitting back, okay? So the knees should not go over the toes or over the feet. As you're sitting back, they're staying where they are. You're pushing the chest forward, and now the bum is sticking out, so you're tilting your pelvis under as you're squatting down. Inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. Knees together, ankles together, toes together. If you want, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling, tilting your pelvis under, chest forward. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then straighten the legs, hands in the chest, hands in the hips. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. We're gonna do 2 more of this, but we're gonna interspace them with other stuff so they're not too intense, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna do the pyramid pose. So we're starting with the feet hip width apart again. This time we're taking a step with the left foot. We're gonna transition from this into warrior 3, okay? So you might want to put a block in front of the mat, just in case you want to balance on that. You're stepping with the right foot halfway down the mat. So it's a shorter step than you did before. You're turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. So if you look at me first, we're gonna show you what the transition is, okay? So from here, we're either grabbing hold of the opposite elbow or we're doing an inverted prayer. And we're folding forward, okay? From there, we're coming halfway up, and then we're bending the front leg, lifting the left leg off the floor. Now you can keep the hands behind your back, or you can bring them on your hips, or you can bring them on the block, okay? So we start with the feet hip width apart, step with the right foot halfway down the mat, square the hips towards the front, so you're pulling that left hip back, and then on the next inhale, hands parallel to the floor, and exhale, either grab hold of the opposite elbow or inverted prayer. If you're doing the inverted prayer, you're pressing the palms together so that the elbows come off the body. If you're grabbing hold of the opposite elbow, you're pushing the elbows away from you, so you're having the same effect, okay? On the next inhale, suck the belly in, open the chest. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hip, pulling the left hip back. So the hips should be parallel to each other. You shouldn't have your left hip forward. Once you feel like your abdominals are starting to go, stop there. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. The legs should be straight, so pull the kneecaps up. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in. And on the exhale, see if you can go a little bit further. Inhale into the count of 5. And exhale into the count of 5. You should feel your lower abdominals engaged. If you don't, you need to come up until you can basically fold forward at the hips, okay? I don't want to see this. I want to see that your core muscle is engaged. And then on the next inhale, decide if you want to bring your hands in by the waist, so keeping them behind you. Come halfway up. Start bending the front leg. You're coming on the tiptoes of the right foot, and as you're straightening the left leg, you're lifting the right leg off the floor. Pointing the toes down towards the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Start bending the standing leg, bringing your right leg down towards the floor. Hands on the hips, and you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Before we go the other side, we're gonna do the chair pose. So this time we're gonna twist to the side, okay? When you're twisting to the side, I'm gonna come a little bit closer so you can see my knees. Let's say I'm turning towards the right. So you're squatting down, as you're bringing your left elbow on the outside of the right knee, what tends to happen is that the left knee comes forward. Can you see it? So what you need to do, you need to pull the left hip back so that the knees are in line with each other. And then as you're here, you're pressing the palms together, elbows one on top of the other so that you can turn towards your right. If you cannot do that, then you're just bringing your arm outside and then you're turning with the hand on your hip, okay? So, feet together, knees together, hands in front of your chest. Sit back, you still want to see the toes. Tilt your pelvis under and then you're hooking your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Otherwise, it's just the arm on the outside of the right knee. Now, pull the left knee back and then turn the torso towards your right so that you're bringing your hands in a prayer position in front of the chest. So the hands shouldn't be on the shoulder, they should be in front of your chest. Looking straight ahead or towards the ceiling, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come back into the center, straighten the legs, hands on your hips, you're shaking your legs. We're gonna do the other sequence and then we're gonna turn on the left, okay? So, start with the feet hip width apart. You're stepping with the left foot halfway down the mat, turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat, squaring the hips towards me. So there should be a space between the front and the back foot. On the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Exhale at an inverted prayer or grabbing hold of the opposite elbow. Whichever way you are, you want to push the elbows away from you, opening the chest. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, open the chest, pull the right hip back, and exhale, you're folding forward at the hips. You should feel your abdominals engaged. Once you feel like your abdominals are starting to go, stop there. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. Make sure that the legs are straight by pulling the kneecaps up. On the next inhale, suck the belly in. On the exhale, see if you can go a little bit further. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Core muscle engaged. Breath nice and long. Focusing the mind on the breath. And then on the next inhale, come halfway up. Now, your choice, either keeping your hands behind you or bringing them to the hips or bringing them to the block in front of you. And then bend in the front leg. You're starting to lift the left leg off the floor, straightening the right leg, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Flexing your feet so the toes are pointing down towards the floor. One more breath here, and then you're starting to bend the front leg as you're bringing your left leg down towards the floor. Hands on the hips. And you're shaking your legs a little bit. We're doing a lot of workout on the glutes and the legs today. Okay, chair pose. Feet together this time. Hands on the hips. On the next inhale, you're bringing your hands in front of your chest. Sit back, tilt your pelvis under, and then hook your right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Make sure you're pulling that right knee back by pulling the right hip back, and then turning the torso towards your left. You're trying to bring the hands in front of your chest. One elbow stacked on top of the other, inhaling to the count of 5, and exhaling to the count of 5. Looking straight ahead or towards the ceiling. Still tuck your pelvis under so your abdominals are engaged. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor, bringing your hands in front of your chest, straightening the legs, giving yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay. So now we're we're gonna do a balancing pose and we're gonna come down onto the floor, okay? Not balancing pose, sorry, we're gonna do a bit of a workout. So first, look at me because it's a sequence. So we're coming into downward dog. And then we're lifting one leg off the floor. And then we're turning the hips by bending the knee and trying to bring that foot to the opposite glute. Once we're here and we stretch the front of the hips, we're basically bringing your hip forward, square towards the front. We're doing a bit of workout by bringing the knee to the chest and extending the leg. And then we're lowering ourselves down. We're done it on both sides and we're lowering ourselves down into the mat, okay? So come to the top of the mat. Big toes are touching. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat as a step or jump into a high plank. And exhale, push yourself into a downward dog. And start walking your feet into the middle of the mat until the big toes are touching. And then on the next inhale, lift your right leg off the floor. Bend the right knee and try to bring the right heel towards the left glute. So you're opening the hips towards the right. You're looking down towards your left foot and you're keeping both arms straight. The left arm wants to bend, but you're keeping them straight and really feel that stretch onto the right hip and the front of the right hip. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, square the hips towards the front and exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrists. Inhale, come back out. 2 more. Knee to nose. Inhale, come back out. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, come back out. And exhale, bring the right foot down towards the floor. Walk your feet on the spot. If you want, come into child pose for a second. And then push yourself back up into a downward dog. Feet together. On the next inhale, lift the left leg off the floor. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, bringing the heel towards the right glute, opening the left hip out towards the left. Looking down towards your foot, keeping both arms straight. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, square the hips towards the floor. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrists. Inhale, come back out. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, come back out. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, come back out. And exhale, bring the left foot down towards the floor. We're coming into a plank. So you're on your tiptoes. You're pushing the shoulders above the wrists. And we're lowering ourselves down onto the floor to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're here on the floor. We're lying on the floor. We're going to do the cobra pose, okay? So what you want to do, you want to bring your elbows underneath the shoulders, okay? The palms are pressing down towards the floor. Top of the feet are on the mat. You're looking forward. Now roll the shoulders away from you. So you're trying to push the chest forward, and that really opens up the upper part of the body. This is very good for your lower back. So still inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. At this point, the belly is relaxed. On the next one, we're going to contract the abdominals, but at this point your belly is relaxed. You're just allowing yourself to stretch onto your lower back, and if you want a deeper stretch, you're really pushing the chest forward. So you're opening the chest forward and you're looking forward. And then on the next inhale, release yourself down onto the floor. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees. You're coming down into child pose. Bring the top of the feet down onto the floor. Sitting on your heels. Your body is on top of the legs. to support your lower back, and the forehead is onto the floor. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And now coming to your hands and knees, we're going to do it one more time. So we're going to bring ourselves down onto the floor. Hands now are underneath the shoulders. Slide the elbows underneath the shoulders. If you want to have a deeper stretch, but be careful about your lower back, you're bringing your hands underneath the shoulders and you're straightening up the arms, okay? You can also have your arms forward slightly, straightening up the arms, so you haven't got as deep a stretch. Or you start with the elbows underneath your shoulders, palms are pressing down, chest is pushing forward, you're looking forward. And now what you want to do, you want to start clenching the glutes, sucking the belly in, opening the chest. So you can see that that makes a difference onto the lower back. It sort of protects it, right? As you're relaxing the abdominals, you're feeling a deeper stretch onto your lower back. As you're contracting the abdominals and clenching the glutes, you're also feeling the stretch, but not as deep. And then relax the belly, and then contract it one more time, sucking the belly in, squeezing the glutes, pushing the chest forward, and then relaxing yourself. Bring your body back down onto the floor, coming back into child pose. Tuck your toes under, come in your hands and knees. Bring the knees together, sitting on your heels, resting the torso on the thighs. You can basically rock slightly from side to side so that you're basically feeling a little bit of a stretch onto your lower back. And then very gently start walking your hands towards the body. And as you're getting to the point where you're sitting on your heels, just bring your bum either side of the feet and bring your feet forward so that basically your legs are forward, the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, the legs are straight. You can use a block underneath your bum if you want to. Remove the flesh away from the buttocks. Hands either side of the bum with the fingers pointing towards the toes. And now roll your elbows back, gently bending them so that you don't bring the shoulders up towards the ears. And now you're working again onto the tree part of the core muscle, the mula bandha or the pelvic floor, by sucking, basically clenching the bum hole, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking your chin under. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Try to keep your legs as straight as you can by pointing the toes up, and you can press the back of the knees onto the mat. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and on the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips. Whenever you feel like your lower abdominals are starting to go, relax the hands wherever they're comfortable. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, engage the core, and on the exhale, pulling with the hands, you're trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Now, you can use a block for the next one because it's quite an intense stretch for the hips and for the knees. So you're sitting on the block. Bend the knees And basically what you want to do, you want to create a square, okay? So you're bringing the right foot underneath the left knee. So the lower leg is parallel to the front of the mat, okay? So the foot is not coming towards the bum, it's just underneath the left knee. Now you want to bring the left foot on top of the right knee, and you're bringing the left knee out, okay? I'm not very good at this one. This is called the far-log pose. And then just bring your hands either side of the bum and join in the stretch. Inhale into the count of 5. So you really should feel it on the basically hip joints and in the front of the hips, okay? So just allow the knees to relax onto the floor and breathe into the front, onto the hip area where you're really feeling the stretch. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, open your eyes if they were closed. Release the left foot first and then the right. We're going to do it on the other side. So start with the feet on the floor, the knees are bent. You're bringing the left foot underneath the right knee. And you're flexing that foot so that you're protecting the left knee. The lower leg should be pretty much in line with the front of the mat. And then you're picking up your left foot, your right foot, and you're placing it on top of the right knee, flexing that right foot, and try to bring that right knee down towards the floor. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Hands either side of the block, standing up straight, breathing into that hip area that feels incredibly stretched. Inhale into the count of 5 and exhale into the count of 5. And then start coming out of the pose by picking the right, bringing the right knee towards the chest and bringing the right foot down onto the mat. And then the left, giving yourself a little bit of a shake on the legs. Okay, you can get rid of the block if you want to, or if you think that you prefer it there, just keep it there. Now you're extending the left leg, you're hugging the right knee towards the chest, and you're grabbing hold of the foot, the top of the foot with the right hand. So you're grabbing hold of the top of the foot. And then you're bringing the right knee at a 90-degree angle from the front, okay? So it's sort of this position here. Now, the closer the foot is to the leg, the better, the easier the stretch. Otherwise, you can also extend and create another 90-degree angle with the right leg, but it's quite a big stretch, so just be careful, okay? I'm gonna bring it towards the bum. Hands either side of the left leg, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling of the left toes. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, and on the exhale, gently walk your hands away from the body towards the left foot. Inhale into the count of 5 and exhale into the count of 5. Focus on the breath. Direct the breath to any area of the body that feels particularly challenged with this pose. And basically you consciously try to bring the breath to that area so that you allow it to relax it instead of tensing up. Last breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, start gently walking your hands back to the center. Now roll yourself slightly onto the left side, and then you're hugging that right knee towards the chest and releasing it. Okay? Now we're going to do it on the other side. straighten the right leg, point the toes up towards the ceiling, hug the left knee towards the chest, grab hold of the top of the foot with the hand, and then you're bringing the left knee at a 90-degree angle, okay? So you've got square angles with the legs. If you want, you can extend the left leg out, the lower leg, and then hands either side of the right leg, and then open the chest on the inhale, sucking the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward, bringing the hands towards the right foot. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, start walking your hands back to the center. Roll yourself slightly onto the right. Hug the left knee towards the chest and release it, giving yourself a little bit of a shake on the legs. Okay, now come into the middle of the mat. Bend the knees, place your hands in front of the knees and roll yourself onto your back, hugging the knees to the chest. Because we've worked quite a lot on the hips, really hug the knees to the chest, even lifting the bum off the floor, and you're releasing the front of the hips, okay? And then bring your feet down onto the floor. You're bringing your right foot on the outside, on the top of the left knee, and you're bringing your right knee out. And then if you want, you can grab hold of the left thigh with your hands and pull the left thigh towards your chest. Now flex your right foot so that you're protecting the right knee. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. Don't lift your head off the floor. And just allow the stretch to happen on your right glute and the right leg. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then very gently start bringing your left leg down onto the floor. Release the right knee on the right leg down onto the mat, and we'll swap the legs over. So this time we bring in the left foot on top of the right, flexing the left foot and bringing your left knee out to the sides. Now, if you feel that was too much of a stretch, you can bring your left hand on top of the left knee and you can press down. Make sure your neck and your head is relaxed, is not off the floor. Or you can grab hold of the back of the thighs, flexing the feet, and allowing the stretch onto the left glute, left leg. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then very gently bring your right leg down onto the floor. Release the posture and hug your knees to the chest. We're doing a twist, so we're keeping the right knee hugged towards the chest, releasing the left leg down onto the floor, opening the right arm out to the sides, bringing the left hand on top of the right knee and bringing that right knee over to the left side, looking towards your right hand. Keeping both shoulders on the floor, allowing that deep stretch onto the right side of the back and the glute and the leg.
And come back to the center, swap the legs over, release the right leg down, hug the left knee towards the chest, left arm out to the side, right knee down onto the left knee down towards the right side and looking towards your left hand. Deepen the breath, work on the breath. Send the breath to any area of the body that feels stretched as you're doing this pose. Allowing it to relax, preventing any tension. And then come back to the center. Hug both knees towards the chest and then start rocking back and forward until you're coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat. We're gonna do an inversion. So you want to either bring your legs against the wall if you're on your menstrual cycle or if you've got any problem with high blood pressure or high blood pressure of the eyes. Otherwise you can do the shoulder stand by the wall by bringing your bum as close as you can onto the wall, legs onto the wall, feet onto the wall, your bum should touch the wall and then you're pressing on the feet, lifting yourself up, shuffling to the top of your shoulders, support your lower back, lifting one leg up at a time, or you do the shoulder stand onto the floor as you've normally done before. I'm gonna demonstrate the headstand today, okay? So go ahead and do the shoulder stand if you want to. Otherwise, if you want to see how to do the headstand, just bring your mat onto the wall, next to the wall but not touching the wall. Double yourself on the mat so that basically you got a bit of padding. Interlace the fingers in front of you and create a triangle between the hands and the elbows. The elbows should always be underneath the shoulder, they shouldn't spread out, okay? So bring your hands onto the floor and then you bring in this part of the head onto the floor, okay? Bring yourself there, squeeze the elbows together and then bring your bum up towards the ceiling. And you've got two options here. The easier option is to bring one leg up and look for the wall. At one point, the leg is going to lift off the floor. Once you've touched the wall, you're straightening that leg and then see if you can straighten the other leg. Otherwise, from here, you walk your knees towards the chest until you can lift the legs off the floor. And then from here, you're straightening the legs, keeping the thighs together, engaging the abdominals. Once you're ready to come out, come into child pose and you're bringing your arms over the body, alongside the body, staying here for about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, so if you're doing the shoulder stand, you're doing 10 breaths with the legs up towards the ceiling. And then you're bringing your legs over your head into the plow position. If you're doing the shoulder stand, hips towards you, legs away from you. And then once you're ready, you start bringing your legs over your head, top of the feet onto the floor. If you're touching the floor, you can interlace the fingers behind your back, pressing the foot onto the floor so that you're straightening the legs. And then you can bend the knees so the knees are touching the forehead or they're going around the ears. And then very gently start releasing yourself back down onto the floor. If you were doing the headstand, come down onto the floor and come into the child pose for a minute. While the people that were doing the shoulder stand, we're gonna do the counter pose, which is the fish pose. You have your legs straight in front of you, toes pointing away from you. You're on your forearms, sliding the elbows away from the shoulders, puffing the chest up, releasing the top of the head down onto the floor. If you cannot touch the head onto the floor, you need to slide the elbows away from you. 3 breaths here. And then tuck your chin to the chest. Release yourself down onto the floor. Now everybody come into Shavasana or the corpse pose. So you're lying yourself onto the mat, feet as wide as the mat. Flop your feet to the sides. Tilt your pelvis under so as much as your lower back is touching the floor. Roll the shoulders away from you, opening the palms up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin under so your neck is nice and long. You can use a pillow underneath your head, or you can also bend the knees so that the feet are on the mat, as wide as the mat, and you're supporting the knees with each other. Try to stay in the same position now for the next couple of minutes while we're doing some meditation. Okay, so we're gonna start relaxing the feet, relaxing the ankles, relax the lower legs, relax the knees, relax the thighs, relax the glutes and the hips, relax your lower back, the middle of the back and the upper back, and relax the pelvic area, the lower abdomen, the upper abdomen and the chest. Coming to the top of the shoulders, going into the shoulder joint, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the upper arms, relaxing the elbows, and relaxing the lower arms, the wrists and the hands. Relax the neck, relax the jaw and the mouth, relax your cheeks, your nose, your ears, relax your eye sockets, relax your temples, your forehead and the whole of the head. Feeling the body getting more and more relaxed. And now you're going to bring your focus onto the pelvic area. So we're going to start opening up all the chakras. So imagine, so start clenching the bum hole and then release it. Clench the bum hole and release it. That area that gets activated as you're doing this movement, imagine a red bright ball of light starting from this point and spreading out throughout the whole of your lower pelvic area and the legs. A bright red ball of light. This chakra is in charge of your reproductive organs and all the hormones related to them. Imagine a red ball of light spreading from there into the whole of your pelvic area and the legs. And now come up a little bit into the area beneath the belly button. Start bringing the belly button towards the spine and release it. Suck the belly in and release it. That area that gets activated underneath the belly button, just imagine a bright ball of orange light starting from that point and spreading throughout the whole of your lower abdomen and the lower back. This area is in charge of your adrenals, so the fight and flight, and very much linked to your stress levels. So imagine a bright ball of orange light spreading throughout the whole of your lower abdomen and the lower back. And now coming to the solar plexus of the area just underneath the rib cage, and imagine a bright ball of yellow light spreading from the center of your belly just underneath the rib cage into the whole of your upper abdomen and into the middle of your back. And this area is in charge of your digestion through the pancreas and the liver, releasing enzymes into the digestive system to break down the food that you ingest. Imagine a bright ball of yellow light spreading throughout the whole of your upper abdomen and the middle of your back.
And now come up a little bit more into the chest area, in the space just in front of your heart, and imagine a bright ball of green light starting from the heart and spreading throughout the whole of your rib cage and your arms. And this chakra is in charge of your immune system through the thymus gland, which is a gland which is just on the chest bone. Imagine a bright ball of green light spreading throughout the whole of your rib cage and your arms. And now come up a little bit more into the throat. Imagine a bright ball of blue light spreading throughout the whole of your throat. And this chakra is in charge of your thyroid and your metabolism. Imagine a bright ball of blue light spreading throughout the whole of your throat. Come up a little bit more into your third eye, so the space in between your eyebrows. And imagine a bright ball of purple light starting from the third eye, so the space in between the eyebrows, and spreading throughout the whole of the skull and the brain. And this chakra is in charge of your pituitary gland, and that pituitary gland is basically in charge of all the hormones releases in the body. So a lot of function are in charge of these chakras. Imagine a bright ball of purple light spreading throughout the whole of your head and the brain. And finally come to the top of the head, into the crown chakra, and imagine a bright ball of white light starting from the top of the head and spreading throughout the whole of your body, the head, starting from the head, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the torso, the pelvic floor and the legs. Bright ball of white light washing throughout the whole of your body. And this crown is in charge of your pineal gland, is in charge of the day and night, all the circadian systems in the body, and the connection with the spiritual world. And now very gently bring your attention back to the rest of the body. Take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through the mouth, start wiggling your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through the mouth, start wiggling your fingers. And then very gently you can start hugging one knee at a time towards the chest. And you can either rock back and forward until you're coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat, or you can roll yourself onto the right side, pushing yourself up into a cross-legged position onto the mat. And then bring your hands in front of your chest, close your eyes, and just make a mental note of how often you are able to just connect with the breath, and how often your mind just wandered off. Just don't judge it, but resolve that every time you practice yoga, you're not only practicing the body, but you're also practicing with your mind. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste. And I've also got a class on Tuesday morning